Facebook, Twitch, and I can't see if Google went. Yes, yeah, YouTube. I mean, YouTube went. Facebook is starting because it has to have that second button press.
True.
There we go. We're live.
Awesome.
Hi guys, this is Drew,
This is Jacob.
and we'll be reviewing Trolls tonight. This will be interesting.
It will.
I posted a video
You did.
that I said it might possibly be an allegorical teaser for our discussion tonight.
Yes.
Did you watch that video?
Yes, I did.
Let's just say this movie is root beer.
Yeah.
This movie is root beer because it is very insidious in what it does. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious too because I think I've got an idea what be like. I understand what the shows do. I understand what the Deep Space Nine clip is referring to.
right.
With this movie, it's like, okay, I think I have an idea what you're talking about, but I'm curious what your thought, what your
I'm going to
grand
bring it up
thought
because
is,
I'm
of
going to
course.
mention that when we get to dislikes, I think
Yeah.
is where I'm going to put it.
Okay.
Um, but basically, what it comes down to is I should hate this movie,
Okay. But
but I can't
uh
because this makes all the same uh faults, sins, whatever the word you want to use,
mm.
that Ugly Dolls did.
Ooh, yeah.
But this does it better.
Agreed, it does.
But we'll get more into that later.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one I'm going to have to be objective on because I'm afraid if I allow my thoughts to go through, I might get a little dishonest.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
That's not what I'm looking for. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm looking at the Facebook thing while we're waiting to start.
Ah, okay. So yeah, guys, if you want to go watch Trolls, it's available on most purchasing stream platforms.
Mm-hmm. I had to rent it.
Yeah. I was thankful because I had bought a VHS copy during Black Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't remember. I couldn't remember if I owned it. I thought I did, so I had to go digging. So yeah, I do have it.
Well, you do have an extensive movie collection.
I do.
75% of which is not opened, but I have no room to talk.
Exactly. I wouldn't say 75% of it. Be like there's a chunk of it I have not watched. It has been opened but not watched.
Okay. See, that's the thing non-film nerds don't understand is that we'll go and we'll buy movies.
Yeah.
And don't take the cellophane off.
True.
Because we hadn't got to that one yet.
Yeah, and it's not this idea of I'll be like, oh, I've got to collect all these films. It's not one of these like
no, I'm not trying to, keep it pristine or anything. It's just I just hadn't opened that box yet.
Yeah. Because I think the difference is when you're talking about a movie buff or a movie collector,
yeah,
or someone who enjoys films, be like, you have those guys who buy the Criterion collection.
The Criterion collection.
Criterion collection. That's what I'm looking for.
I would know anything about that.
No, absolutely not. The Big Godzilla.
I also have one for Dr. Strangelove,
mm-hmm.
or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
It's the full name of the movie,
right? So yeah, there's that main difference because like you want to watch the film in that new format and see how glorious it looks. Where to maybe like a toy collector, like those like really obsessed toy collectors who be like, I want to buy the figure and I want to put it behind glass or plastic and just view it from afar and never touch it, never enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It just sits on my shelf and like, oh my gosh, all the glory. It's like no, film nerds or film guys, film ladies, just want to enjoy the film and see it in its how the how the director wanted everything to be seen and shown. So yeah, that's the whole thing.
Right. Oh, there's one other button I gotta press. I almost forgot. Deela, how are you doing?
There she is.
Glad she's working tonight. Paul J. Powers in our Facebook chat says they made this for VHS. Well, I mean, that's not too crazy. Frozen was on VHS.
That is true. But this came out in
Not in America, but it was released on VHS.
Wow. Where?
I don't remember where it was. Well, that's not it because this was before that. I think that's a parody one.
It is.
That may be what I'm thinking of because it actually mentions Tangled up here. So yeah, that maybe not be what I'm thinking of. But
yeah, because
no, I don't think they released this to VHS. I think this is after that would have been normal.
Yeah, because this was 2016, I believe, when this movie came out.
Yes, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2016.
Sorry, Heather. I'm trying to read your thing, but the Facebook window is not being nice and letting me read it. I try to expand it out to see, and then there it goes. Heather says, I bought every edition of Disney films when I was younger. That makes sense.
So you have like the Betamax and the
capacitance disc,
capacitive
the CED,
CED,
laser disc.
Laser disc. That's what I was thinking of.
Betamax.
Yeah.
There's a couple others, but I can't think of what they're called right now.
True.
HD DVD.
Yeah, there we go.
Except I don't think Disney was on that. I think they went straight to Blu-ray, but still.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's always interesting. I was halfway considered to buy a laser disc of The Little Mermaid because it's just more like I love that big enormous format.
Right. Well, that sort of thing you can just put it on the wall and it'll look nice.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay, the DVD, VHS, and Blu-ray. Okay, not every format.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
It'll be faster to figure it out this way.
Facebook Live.
Share.
Share link.
There we go.
All
right. Paul J. Power says Drew said he rented Trolls, and Jacob said he was lucky because he already had it on VHS.
Oh,
did you say that?
I did say VHS. I meant DVD. I meant DVD.
I didn't even catch that.
Me either. Wow. Thanks, Paul.
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, so it's on DVD. I almost said VHS again.
Yes.
DVD.
Home video.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, because it's funny because like when you're a certain generation, you remember when DVD came out.
Oh yeah. I remember one of the first, you know what the first movie I actually saw on a DVD was?
What was that?
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Really?
My cousin was showing it off to me, and he was a big Star Wars nut, the kind that wasn't complaining about Episode 1 when it came out.
Oh, okay.
He says, look at this crisp, clean image on this disc. And of course, we're watching it on a CRT, so it doesn't look that much better.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, this is cool and all, but this looks like the VHS did I rented.
Yeah, Chase Murphy says, shoot, I remember when VCRs came out.
Well, I was a little young for that.
Yeah.
When do you want to start this thing?
I would say just like, let's
hit it now.
Get started.
Why don't you give us the intro?
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who's just got a song in his heart. Welcome, Jacob. And here I expected you to go into Garth Brooks.
Reverend Zero Great.
Nice.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who's just looking for a little bit of happiness and a side of quality. Welcome, Drew.
Well, you know, when you're a hungry person, you want something that's just a little bit sweet but not too sweet. Maybe you don't go for the pink one.
Yeah, that's true. Agreed.
You eat Justin Timberlake. Anyway,
Yeah, scary.
yeah, that's a scary thought.
That is scary.
Yeah. So Jacob, you are the one who's been doing a lot of fun stuff lately. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. The week itself has gone pretty well. It's just, like I told my girlfriend. Hi, Ashley. I told her it's more of this nose to the grindstone because it's more trying to get away from drama at work, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this past weekend, my brother Jim, my girlfriend Ashley, and I drove to Dallas to go see the Garth Brooks concert.
Right.
And
Arlington.
yeah, Arlington, Texas. And
I know the DFW Metroplex is all kind of one giant city,
It-
but there
you know
are
what?
differences.
There are differences. So we leave my hometown. We leave my hometown where we're recording now, and we're originally from Studio A. The
Studio A and Studio B are in the same apartment complex, so I think you're
agree.
good.
I agree, but so we leave for there. There again, I have been a huge Garth Brooks fan since I was a kid. Probably 1994, when he did this Garth Brooks 2 from Texas Stadium.
Which isn't there anymore.
No, it's not, but it's replaced by Jerry World or AT&T Stadium. So we drive up there and be like,
I just had a horrible thought.
Oh no!
You said Jerry Jones World?
Jerry World.
Jerry World?
Yeah.
You realize you could also call it Jonestown.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, that was just came to my mind.
Wow.
Moving on.
Wow. Anyway, so we get to the Airbnb where we're staying. We, kind of gear down, drop the gear, and head out to the stadium. Now, granted, I'm totally cool, totally fine. We get past security. We get, the tickets I paid for. I get them scanned. Walk in. There's
Mhm.
enormous advertisement for the Anthology Part 2, which is like the next 5 years. I think it's like 1990. That would have been 1996, 97
Mm-hmm.
of Garth Brooks' career, and I'm just like
every song in his career, or
pretty
just the
much
hits?
from 1996 to 2001.
Okay.
So, and so I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, I finally made it. And this has been like a 30+ year journey to get here. So I don't want to go too long on this. So back in the early 90s, 1990 actually, my dad had tickets to the Top Texas Rodeo in Jacksonville, where we're from, and he had tickets for the concert. Garth was he was going to be there, but unfortunately and sadly, my dad broke his back at work, and so we couldn't go to the concert, which was like devastating.
Right.
He was like, wow, I've heard so much about this guy. And then I become a big fan in 1994, 95. So it took about 30+ years to finally get to a concert. So we walk into AT&T Stadium, huge, massive stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in there, and all you see on this big jumbotron is the big G for Garth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here. So we spend 2 hours, almost 2 hours, standing in line to get merch. Hint the shirt.
Yes.
And
for those of you audio listeners, he is wearing a red Garth Brooks t-shirt.
Yeah. World Tour shirt.
It says Stadium Tour, but yes.
Stadium Tour. That's what I'm going to say. Stadium Tour. Man, I wish it was the World Tour. That'd been awesome. But
This is probably the same concert.
but
But anyway.
yeah, either or. Don't get me started because I know a lot about this stuff.
I know you do, but still moving on.
So we get up to the nosebleed section where if you're ever at AT&T Stadium, be like, this is a massive stadium, but you get good seating anywhere you're at, including nosebleed section.
Mhm.
So I get there, we finally get to sit down, and I just be like, I can't help myself. I just scream my bloody head off because I'm so excited.
Mhm.
For the next about 2.5, 3 hours, I'm screaming and singing along to every song that's played, and I absolutely loved it. Because like everything people say that Garth Brooks is in concert is magnified by 100.
Mhm.
And I thoroughly enjoyed that. We got done about midnight. Waited for the crowd to go down. We drove to the Airbnb, which took almost 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tiring. But
To go 11 miles.
yeah, 11, 15 miles. Got there, got to bed. And we got up, made breakfast, went and did a few things around Arlington, and then drove back. And I was exhausted. Let's just say that. But it was a bucket list check. It was a dream come true. It was that God allowed all these amazing little things to happen in
Mhm.
order for this to happen. And there was one thing that I was so conflicted with the entire time, that I'm in where I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And now I'm nearly 40. And I'm thinking, if I had the opportunity to go on a mission trip, and you had this, Garth Brooks at AT&T Stadium, I don't think I would be torn. I'd be like, I want to go serve the Lord, so I want to go on a mission trip. So the idea of be like, would I go serve the Lord on a mission trip and miss a Garth Brooks concert? I think I would. I think honestly I would.
There's something to be said about idol worship.
No. Be like, I don't think you heard me right.
Okay, did you say you would go to the Garth Brooks concert, or you
No.
missed the Garth Brooks concert?
I would miss the Garth Brooks.
That's
concert.
better. That's a lot better. I
Yeah,
did
that's
mishear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like I think honestly, I would have missed the concert to go, serve the Lord.
Okay, good. That's good.
Yeah, like
So I was sitting there going, wait a minute, there's no way I heard him right.
Yeah,
That's why I brought that up.
yeah,
so
exactly. So it
it's
is.
like we're gonna have a heart to heart here.
Yeah,
This was secretly an intervention, secret to everyone here.
Come to Jesus moment.
Yes,
But yeah, it was an amazing concert. I would highly recommend if you're like a country fan, or like if
back
you,
when they actually made country music.
yeah, that's true. That could be debatable. That could be debated in some capacities. But it was
No,
just
it
like
can't. They don't make country music anymore. They make twang pop. Moving on.
anyway.
I have opinions.
I'm aware you have opinions. And also where you have an appendix. Opinions, appendix.
Right.
Either or. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think he's got one more leg of a tour in Houston, and then he's going to Ireland for like five concerts. And that's the end of the stadium tours.
Okay then.
But yeah, that was just absolutely amazing. I love that to death. That was so amazing. And it's the kid in me, the teenager, the college student, the adult in me, that's like everything, all that dream came true, and
Mhm.
it's just amazing. It's something, it'll be one of the best moments of my life. Besides being able to serve the Lord in some capacity.
Right.
And
meeting a girlfriend.
meeting a girlfriend, of course, and
To
having
save you
my-
with Ashley.
yes, and like having a part of this podcast and getting
Yes,
to be
yes.
like a good brother with Drew as a
Mhm.
podcaster and a brother in Christ. Other than that, be like, man, work's been work. They've condensed everything down because we got I think it's like Super One coming into town.
Yes.
So they
For those of you who are not from this area and have never heard of Super One, that is a grocery store.
yes. It's affiliated with Berkshire's, not a Berkshire Brothers. It's two different companies.
Berkshire's is also a grocery store that is probably the head grocery store of a series of chain of stores owned by Berkshire's Grocery Company.
Yes. Thank
Not
you.
everyone lives in Texas.
I'm aware of this.
Brookshire Brothers was started by the same family,
Yeah,
but it was down the other side of it that didn't take the regular Brookshires. Actually, I don't remember which one was first.
the Brookshire Brothers was first, then Brookshire split off 10
Well,
years later.
Either way, Brookshire's has made more is been more successful.
I would agree with you there.
But yeah,
Yeah, either or. Be like, apparently there's a new store coming into town, and so they've cut our hours back. They didn't cut my hours back, thankfully.
you have seniority over everybody in the store.
Not quite.
Nearly.
Nearly.
But you've got more seniority than the managers do, probably.
Maybe not some of them, but either or. Yeah, work is work. And I do want to say one thing. Big shout out to not a patron, a patron of mine for the artistic world. I was like,
Not a Patreon patron, but an actual patron.
an actual patron, a patron of the arts. I got a contact from him about a month and a half ago about be like, hey, can you do this for me? I'm like, sure. And I give him a number. And about a month later, he finally gives back to me. He's like, hey, sorry, I get distracted. You can talk to a friend of ours that be like, hey, I get distracted. So he finally, deposited money for this. And so I'm gonna start working on the commission in a couple of days. And yeah, I'm excited. Because it's really fun to actually get a commission and be able to do it. And
Cool.
It's gonna be interesting. I'll let people know what it is after he's got it and everything. It's gonna be cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's all that's been going on. It's just like, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I haven't had as interesting a week as you've had.
Right.
I've gone to work. I've played some video games.
Yeah.
And I went over and hung out at our good friend Chase's. That's what I did this weekend. Oh, I went to
Nice.
church too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Cool.
so Jacob, I do have one more question just so you can keep talking.
What have you been watching?
Well, besides Garth Brooks' concert.
Yes.
So Disney Plus, I want to say Disney Channel, but Disney Plus. They released a new series called Light and Magic.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I saw it was on there.
It's good. It's good. It's
I assume it's about ILM.
yeah, it's the history of ILM, and they're starting off from the original Star Wars and George Lucas' desire to do special effects and that no one else has ever done. And that be like, I think the episode I'm in, there are towards the latter part of, or I think it's like the back end of Empire Strikes Back, and where everything's starting to blow up in the 80s,
Right.
with special effects and the whole bit. So I watched that.
Shouldn't be too far away from when the Lucasfilm computer
Pixar
pick thing that would eventually become Pixar shows up.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll actually bring up one of Pixar's first projects for an outside company.
What was that?
Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. They briefly stood because
it's like the most expensive CG that was made at the time.
Oh yeah,
for a theatrical production.
Yeah, they started going into the computer generated thing about it, but they didn't call it Pixar. They just it's a computer graphic program. But yeah, it's really interesting. Definitely if you're like a history like a movie nerd like we are.
Yeah,
and you just like special effects and the behind the scenes, how they do things. It's really cool. Because this goes and they interview everybody. Like I'm talking like all the big name directors for this, and it's amazing. I really enjoy this. I can't wait to continue watching this. And yeah, this is a fun little series on Disney Plus. I'm glad they put it out. So what have you been watching?
Well, I'm a bit of a tokusatsu fan. And I do like my giant kaiju. So I was watching something that doesn't have giant kaiju in it, but it does have kaiju.
Really?
It was a TV show from 1966 in Japan.
Really?
The most expensive show for a long period of time. I don't know when they actually lost this distinction over there. It's called Ultra Q.
Yeah.
It is technically the first series of the Ultraman franchise, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
But Ultraman is not in this.
Okay.
He does not show up until the show Ultraman, which is after this.
Okay.
This is more like the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits,
Really
but with kaiju.
interesting.
I literally just watched an episode where Martians had sent 2 giant slug monster eggs down to Earth because they were annoyed that we sent rockets to their planet.
Interesting.
We never actually saw the Martians. We just saw the slug monsters.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, that was fun. Other parts is that some of the ways that they were able to cut a few corners, especially with the first couple episodes,
Mhm.
is that they reused some monsters from Toho because Eiji Tsuburaya, the guy who did directed all of the special effects sequences
Yeah.
for like Gojira and Mothra, Rodan, King Kong versus Godzilla,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's the one who's directing the special effects for this show.
Okay.
And well, in the first episode, the first episode is called Defeat Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Gomez is a reused Godzilla suit with furry eyebrows and a turtle shell and this horn sticking up out of his head. And you can tell when you're looking at him that it's Godzilla, but slightly modified. More fun. The Litra, the monster that fights him at the end of the episode, is a modified Rodan puppet.
Really?
And even more fun, the second episode, Goro and Goro, they reused the King Kong suit from King Kong versus Godzilla, but they changed the mask out to make it look better. Because if you saw that one, you know how sleepy or run over by a garbage truck
Yeah.
face looked like
Agreed.
in that movie. It actually looks like a gorilla mask
Yeah.
now, even though he's supposed to be a monkey.
Huh.
There's a difference.
Agreed.
Except he didn't have a tail. I just realized because it was the King Kong suit.
Mm.
And monkeys are the ones that have tails and apes don't. But
Right.
beside the point. It's a fun little show. It's essentially like watching those old monster movies.
Yeah.
But because they only have 30 minutes to do the show in, that cuts out all of the long parts of it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that. I will talk probably more about that as the weeks go on and kind of give you all a fill in. But I'm thinking I don't know what if I've been doing some writing based on it, but I haven't released any of it yet because I am working on another project for the podcast that I don't think I've even told you about yet.
Okay.
But it requires me to actually do some learning.
Mm.
So yeah. Anyway, I've watched that. I've been playing some Yakuza Kiwami.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, can you tell it's a remake of a PS2 game.
Mm.
There's just a feel to it, but yeah, because it's remade and it's they do actually do some callbacks to Yakuza 0, the prequel, to kind of do some better connections in there. And you can tell when the writing changes.
Yeah.
And when the scenarios change. But that game has been pretty good. If you're a child, do not play that game in any way, shape, or form. This is like GTA, but better.
Okay.
Mostly because you can't kill civilians,
Hmm.
which doesn't sound like it would be better from the people who like GTA, but trust me, it is. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Okay.
So why don't we go ahead and jump into the news?
All right.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
All right. Why? Thank you, D-Lit. And going into news, DC's League of Super Pets has been basically plowing through the box office this weekend as Warner Brothers animation feature pulls in a respectable $23 million, number one domestic opening domestically. closing out the first month for the cinema release that surpassed $1 billion since December 2021. So yeah, it'd be like cinema's doing very well right now. Let's just say
Mhm.
that with like obviously the pandemic is still there, but it's not as shut downy as it was before.
Right.
So I want to get into a lot more the good news because there's a lot of like sad news that came out recently.
Mhm.
So uh so yeah, like you remember Gremlins, right?
As in the ones that you're not supposed to feed after midnight?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So this bit of news came out from Comic-Con 2022. I didn't catch it in time, so I just wanted to relay it here. So apparently this has been 38 years since Gremlins came out.
Mhm.
So apparently there's going to be a new HBO Max / Cartoon Network series called Gremlins: The Secret of Mogwai, and that'll be
Mogwai.
Mogwai. Sorry, Mogwai. Will be I want us to be hitting store shelves, but no, it'll be hitting your. You'll be able to watch it either on HBO Max or apparently Cartoon Network in
Mhm.
2023. And they're bringing back quite a bit of some of the original cast, like the original guy who did the voice for the young man who was Gizmo's owner.
Yes.
He's coming back, and so there's like that sounds fun
Mhm.
because I liked Gremlins. Gremlins 2 was just crazy as could be.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that'll be coming out. So to get in a bit more the like, it's the thing that happens that people do pass away. Um Apparently Joe Dante, yeah, you know who that is?
No, I unfortunately do not.
We reviewed one of the movies that we did I think it was what was it? I didn't put any of the movies down he did, but he was primarily like the Franken Bass claymation animation movies.
Okay.
Yeah. So apparently
So it was like a stop motion thing that we may have reviewed?
yes. Yeah, animation artist and illustrator Paul Kohler Jr., best known for his character and production designs for Franken Bass motion picture specials, and also for illustrations for Mad Magazine. Most likely Frosty Snowman. We haven't done any of those films yet, have we?
No, we have talked about doing some of those old
That's
ones,
right. Yeah,
but they keep getting knocked out because for one reason or another.
that is true. So eventually we'll get around to doing those.
Oh
But,
yeah, we got to
so
do those at some point.
So sadly, he passed away on July 23rd at the age of 93. And so we lost a great animator.
Mhm.
So another like this like when you hear about great uh actor or actresses passing away, it's just like kind of breaks your heart in a way.
Yeah.
So Pat Carroll, the very well known if you ever watched Little Mermaid, or Disney at all,
Yeah.
Pat Carroll was the voice of Ursula from the Little Mermaid.
Mhm.
And she went on to do a bunch of amazing things, and she was actually the voice of
Old Lady Crowley in Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
yeah. So Sally, she passed away I think a couple of days ago at the age of 95. And it was like when I read that on Twitter, and I was like,
Mhm.
what? Like, no way on earth. Be like, that's sad. And then you get this other bombshell that if there again for someone like Drew, who's a Trekkie,
Yeah.
yeah, you learn that
Nichelle Nichols,
Nichelle-
who played Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek,
yeah.
and played her in Star Trek the Animated Series, and then did a bunch of other roles throughout animation.
Mhm.
I don't. There were none of those roles stuck out to me, unfortunately.
Yeah, some
But,
of those they just to mention was Spider-Man the animated series, Batman the animated series,
Mhm.
and Disney's Gargoyles, and of course
Right.
Star Trek the
But
animated series.
her roles didn't stand out to me that
No.
much. I think wasn't she Madam Web in Spider-Man? That's the closest thing I
I
can
think,
think of.
so. I think so. I could be wrong, but yeah, sadly, she passed away in her home in Silver City, New
Mhm.
Mexico, at the age of 89. So yeah, it's sad when you hear people pass away. This
Yeah.
definitely prayer for those families and the grief of their loved ones. So
Mhm.
yeah, I hate to be on a downer about news, but yeah, that's all I have in the news.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that I think there's only 3 actors left of the original Star Trek cast.
Yeah,
That being William Shatner, George Takei, and Walter Koenig.
yeah,
And Walter Koenig didn't show up till season 2.
yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy.
Mm,
Anyway,
Yeah.
that all we got in the news?
that is all we have in the news.
Then we need to jump into the spoiler-free section of our review for Trolls.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
I should hate this movie.
Okay.
This is actually the second time I watched this movie.
Yeah.
The first time was back in 2020 when I had this idea of, I didn't get to stay home like a lot of people did
Yeah,
because
me
I
either.
still had to go to work.
Uh-huh.
But there was not a lot you could do once you got off work anyway. So since at the time, Trolls 2 World Tour had like blown up the stay-at-home box office, for lack of a
Mhm.
better term.
Yeah.
I was going to watch both movies and see, what the big deal was, and I didn't get past this movie, and I still haven't seen Trolls 2 World Tour yet.
Mm.
But I remember when I watched this that it was better than I expected it to be.
Okay.
And then I promptly forgot every single thing that happened in the movie.
Okay.
It was like cotton candy, which that allegory may come up a couple times tonight.
I agree.
Because it's like, oh, it's nice, it's sweet, it tastes good, and it's gone, and I don't remember it.
Yeah. It kind of dissolved in water.
Yeah,
Poor raccoon.
that's raccoon.
Yeah, there's a viral video going out of a raccoon. Be like, raccoons say,
Oh, yes, I have seen that.
Yeah. The poor raccoon be like, gets the cotton candy, dips it in water, dissolves, just look around like so confused.
Yeah. But it's not a bad movie. I want to get that out.
Right.
It's like, you're not going to regret watching the movie. It's just, it's very shallow to some degree, but yet it's also
Agreed.
got some deepness to it. It's not bad, but I can't say it's good, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That makes sense.
I'll tell you this, if you remember earlier in the year, we reviewed Ugly Dolls,
Yeah.
and this commits like a lot of the same sins,
Mhm.
for lack of a better term. And yet this actually does it better because it's actually a better made film.
Huh. I agree with you. on that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say don't watch it and let your kids watch it. It's definitely family friendly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there. It's good. That's my spoiler free thought.
Okay. I watched this movie the first time. Well, I bought it at a Black Friday Black Friday sale. Thank you. I get tongue tied every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll put this on the list for the podcast. And
Yes, this was his pick.
Yeah, this was my pick. I watched it in 2000, I think 2001, 2000.
You couldn't have watched it in 2000 or 2001. It wasn't out yet.
Or correction, 2020, 2021.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
That makes more sense.
It does make more sense. So I watched it for a like 100 movies in a year kind of thing.
Mhm. I think that was one of the other reasons I watched it was because of that 2020 100 movies in a year, which I failed to reach.
Yeah. But like rewatching it again, be like, it's kind of like how you said, it's kind of like cotton candy. It's one of
Mhm.
those films that be like, it's good, it's got some problems, but it's just one of those like, oh, okay, this was a film. It's an enjoyable film. You can love it or hate it. It's one of those middle of the road films.
Mm-hmm.
It's done far better than Ugly Dolls or some of the other films we've done that are strictly just kid film, kiddie little films that are just fluff and stuff. kind of films.
Mhm.
But there's a little depth to this film, and I like that about the film. Other than that, be like, yeah, it's a good film. You know, obviously go watch it with your kids. Or watch this with your kids, or let your kids watch it. Be like,
Yeah.
it's a good film. That's my spoiler for thoughts.
All right. Well, then we need to jump into the spoiler-filled section, which we will do right after this ad from not really our sponsors. We don't really have sponsors. From the podcast network. How's that?
Yeah.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Stunning and Brave, where each week hosts Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right.
You have no choice.
Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
I might want to listen to them.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Cronin Bitter,
Book of Gaming.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
If you can't tell, I'm going through and remaking all our bumpers.
I heard.
And I don't know why I couldn't recreate Deedlet's voice for when I put in Book of Gaming.
Huh.
I couldn't recreate the right tonage there, and I didn't have time to go back and re-record the rest of those lines. So
Huh. Interesting.
yes, yeah, I'm out of character at the moment because since we're at a break.
Yes.
So Chase in our Facebook group says, our Facebook group, the Facebook chat.
Mm-hmm.
Get it over there. I can read it. He says it was awesome to hang out. Glad to have you over, Drew. And then later on in the episode, he said you were really quiet and thought you needed to speak into the mic more, but then apparently you did better.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I think mess with the knob a little, but
Okay.
I think you just finally got moved over to the microphone or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, I've been right here for the most part.
It was during the news, I think, and you were looking at the news.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
Anyways.
no
Well,
worries there.
thank you for that, Drew. Or Chase.
Chase, yeah,
I always get you two confused for some reason. Obviously.
which I have no idea why, because
Yeah.
why we have similar nerdisms.
Yeah.
He's older, taller, and skinnier than I am.
True.
And it's like the old joke: if we stood next to each other, we'd look like the number 10.
R01.
Yeah, but that's boring. Paul J. Powers over on our Twitch thing, he moved from Facebook over to Twitch.
Okay.
He said he's a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. I don't think he's Donny Osmond,
It sounds more like Garth.
but yet that's what was said about the Osmond twins.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And then he said Pinions and the Rise of Gru.
Pinions and the rise of.
Because we were talking about an opinion or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then he said Piggly Wiggly was first.
That is true. It was.
And then he said Light and Magic.
Light and Magic. Very
All
good.
5 of them. I guess there's only 5 episodes.
I guess.
Okay. That's gets us caught up on chat, it looks like.
Yep. No one's in YouTube.
Oh, Chase says I'm greater in dimension than Drew, but hang on, I can't. But bring less gravity to the occasion than he does.
Oh, very nicely worded.
Yes. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and jump into the full review here?
Yes.
Deedlet, will you give me a mark, please? The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Trolls. Listener discretion is advised. Trolls was directed by Mike Mitchell, who directed the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And it was also directed by Walt Dorn, who directed Shrek Christmas Specials, Donkey Christmas Spectacular, and Shrek's Yule Log.
Oh, okay.
He was also the one that's directly connected to Trolls 2 World Tour.
Oh, okay.
I don't think when I was looking at it that Mike Mitchell directed that one, but I could be
Hmm.
wrong. It was also written by Jonathan Abel, Glenn Berger, and Erica Rivenoja, and based on the Good Luck Trolls that were created by Thomas Dam.
Yeah, back in the 50s, I think.
Yes. Getting into the cast, we've got Anna Kendrick playing Poppy, and in the Twilight franchise, she played Jessica,
Okay.
one of the vampires.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And from what I've seen on
Actually
the
read
internet,
part of those books.
this was been like very earlier in her career,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently she's forgotten she was involved in those.
Hmm.
So yeah, if I were her, I would wipe that from my memory too. Justin Timberlake was Branch, and in Yogi Bear, he played Boo Boo. You know, the 3D Yogi Bear movie.
Oh, yeah. He played Boo Boo.
He was Boo Boo.
Hmm. He's actually a fairly good actor.
Yes, but he hasn't done a lot of movies.
No, he hasn't.
Like most of his, it makes sense that most of his IMDb is going to be his music videos.
Yeah.
But like all but like 5 things are music videos. He's
Yeah.
not done a lot of acting per se.
No.
One of those things is Trolls. The other one is Trolls 2, and then Yogi Bear. And I don't remember what the other 2 were. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Zoe Deschanel
Hmm.
was the voice of Bridget. And in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, she played Trillian.
I still haven't watched that movie.
Oh, that's a good movie. That's the movie where she's, you know how you have those actresses you kind of have a little bit of a crush on?
Yeah.
Zoe Deschanel's always been that kind, and this was the first movie I saw her in.
Oh.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was the first movie I saw her in.
Gotcha.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse was King Gristle,
Hmm.
and he was Fishlegs in How to Train Your Dragon.
Hmm.
Christine Baranski played Chef, and she played Dr. Beverly Hofstadter, aka Leonard's mom, in The Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
Not Sheldon, the other guy that was in that apartment.
I gotcha.
And then Russell Brand played Creek, and he is Dr. Nefario in Despicable Me
Okay.
franchise.
Gotcha.
Getting into the Kingdom Hearts connections, James Arnold Taylor was the ADR group for this, and he played Captain Jack Sparrow and the Prince in Kingdom Hearts.
Hmm.
But I mostly know him from another video game that technically there's a character that's in both, but he doesn't voice the kid version of that character he's most well known for. He's Titus in Final Fantasy X.
Oh,
He's yeah, that the laugh.
Yeah.
Cam Clark was also ADR group in Trolls, and he played Simba in Kingdom Hearts. So he does a pretty decent Matthew Broderick impression, I assume,
Oh, okay.
because it's adult Simba he plays.
Yeah.
Greg Berger, also ADR group in Trolls, is Eeyore in Kingdom Hearts.
Hmm.
David Boat, who was the ADR, who's in the ADR group in this movie in Trolls, plays Alias and Laxius in Kingdom Hearts. Last but not least, the primary character designer in Trolls and the voice of Stitch in Kingdom Hearts is Chris Sanders. So yeah, I didn't realize he was involved in this movie until I was
Wow.
looking it up. And that was only me looking at what the 1.5, 2.5 group.
Yeah.
I did not look into 2.8 or 3 because I already had enough of these characters.
Agreed.
No, especially when I'm looking at ADR group,
Right.
essentially extras.
Hmm.
So probably all the Bergens is who all those 4 people played,
Probably.
and maybe a couple Trolls.
Right. Who knows?
And everyone else was kind of extras anyway, except Gwen Stefani was in this as a DJ.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
one of the Troll DJs.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone else I didn't recognize names,
Hmm.
and they weren't really important roles in the movie. But anyway,
Hmm.
but that's the end of my Kingdom Hearts connections and cast list. What do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So on IMDb, it is a 6.4 out of 10. You can watch it on YouTube for $3.99. Produced by DreamWorks Productions. It was distributed by 20th Century Fox, now known as 20th Century Studios. is
And I
the-
think this was either the last one or close to the last one that 20th Century Fox released for DreamWorks.
possibly.
I think I did look. It did not say it was a News Corporation company. So anyway,
Yeah. So release date was it was initially released October 8th, 2016 at the BFI London Film Festival, and then here in the United States on November 4th, 2016.
mm-hmm.
Box office, we have an estimated budget of $125 million. On its opening weekend for the United States and Canada was that's not that great. $46.5 million on November 6, 2016. Its US and Canada gross was $154 million, and its worldwide gross was $347.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So home release. Trolls released on digital HD on July 24th, 2017, and on Blu-ray DVD combo pack on February 7th, 2017. The film topped the home video sale charts for consecutive 2 weeks. Sequels, obviously, there is a sequel. This has gone through limbo and back to get to theaters. To kind of
And yet, ironically, COVID really didn't slow it down any.
not really. So it was originally announced on February 28th in 2027. Universal Pictures Studios, its new distributing arm for DreamWorks Productions or DreamWorks Animation, announced the sequel title for Trolls 2. That would be released on April 10th, 2020. Many of the original cast would return on August 4th, 2017. The release date for the sequel was moved to February 14th, 2020. Because apparently Fast and Furious 7 took its original spot.
Weird.
Yeah, that is weird. It is 20th century. It is Universal, so they would kind of put their big tentpole movie. Either or. Let's see. It was announced that they would get the director would return. Many of the people returned. Let's see. Originally, the film was pushed back to April 17th, 2020, for a release date on March 4th, 2020, when No Time to Die, the James Bond film, got delayed. So did this film, got pushed back to April 10th of 2020, got released again. Also, it was released almost a home release digitally, where it made banks of money. Then it got re-released in the theaters, which that was interesting. So yeah, apparently there was a TV series. So
That doesn't surprise me. This is DreamWorks we're talking of.
true.
Everything they had that made some money besides Shrek, because Shrek had gone dormant by the time this practice started, had a TV show.
True. So on July 19th, 2018,
Heck, I think Madagascar had a TV show.
it did.
Anyway.
Yeah, Netflix debuted Trolls: The Beat Goes On. It went for 52 episodes that ran for 8 seasons.
8 seasons?
Yeah, 8 seasons.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's not mathematically possible.
That's what it says. It ran for 8 seasons.
Barely not possible, but they must have had a spring season and a fall season somewhere in there.
I'm thinking, but yeah. Yeah, I'll be like, I don't think, I'm not for certain if there's going to be a sequel to Trolls 2, but you never know.
I haven't seen 2 to know if it's as well made as this one is.
Trolls 2, I've seen it. It's interesting. It takes what Pop does and kind of just makes that into the story.
Okay.
Yeah. How Pop kind of just takes everything and makes it his own.
And some
Claims
say
it-
it ruins it, but moving on.
Yeah.
Ready for the summary?
Yes.
All right.
Summarizes, baby.
The trolls are small, colorful, perpetually happy creatures who sing, dance, and hug all day. They are discovered by the gigantic, ugly, and miserable Bergens, who believe that they can only feel happy by consuming a troll. By the way, consuming is a very nice word for eat. They kind of don't hide that in the movie. I don't know why they act like they put it behind special language in this summary.
Yeah.
But the Bergens imprison the trolls in a caged tree and eat them every year on a special occasion, Trollstice. On the year that Prince Gristle Jr., son of King Gristle Sr., is due to eat his first troll, the chef in charge of the ceremony discovers that the trolls' leader, King Peppy, has taken his infant daughter, Princess Poppy, and his people and organized an escape. King Gristle Sr. banishes Chef, and she vows to find the trolls while secretly plotting to overthrow the monarchy as revenge for her exile. 20 years later, an adult Poppy organizes a gigantic party to celebrate the anniversary of the escape. A short-tempered gray survivalist troll named Branch warns that this could compromise their position, but everyone ignores him. His warnings come true when Chef follows the lights and noise and kidnaps Poppy's best friends, along with her love interest, a Zen troll named Creek. While the rest cower in Branch's survival bunker, Poppy sets off alone to rescue her friends. She naively gets herself into several potentially deadly situations and is finally rescued by Branch, who thinks the quest is hopeless and reluctantly follows her to escape his crowded bunker. Upon arriving in Bergentown, Poppy and Branch see Gristle Jr., now king. Chef serves Creek to the king, who appears to eat him, but Poppy still holds out hope that Creek is alive and finds the rest of the trolls being guarded by a young scullery maid named Bridget. Learning that Bridget is secretly in love with Gristle Jr., Poppy and the trolls agree to help her get a date in exchange for her help in ascertaining if Creek is alive. Branch refuses to sing along, and the rest in the ensuing musical number, he and Poppy argue, and he reveals that he has refused to sing ever since his singing compromised his home's location to Chef, who took and presumably ate his grandmother. His color turned from blue to gray that day from the guilt. Poppy confronts him with a hug, and the trolls disguise Bridget as Lady Glitter Sparkles. She and Gristle Jr. go on a date at a roller rink / arcade restaurant, and Poppy spots Creek held captive in a jewel on Gristle's mantle. After the date, the trolls go to Gristle's room and attempt to free Creek, but discover the jewel is empty. Chef then arrives and recaptures everyone, and Poppy is horrified to learn that Creek, in exchange for his own survival, has betrayed them all to Chef. He steals Poppy's cowbell and uses it to summon the rest of the trolls, whom Chef captures and places in a pot, intended to be served at the feast. A heartbroken Poppy and the other trolls fall into despair and turn gray. Branch, realizing he has fallen in love with Poppy, sings True Colors to cheer her up. Poppy reciprocates his feelings and sings along, and all the trolls, including Branch, regain their hope and their colors. Bridget, unwilling to see harm come to the trolls, releases them while Chef isn't looking. Poppy, knowing how the angry Bergens will react, refuses to allow Bridget to sacrifice herself. The trolls return and explain to the Bergens that Bridget is Lady Glitter Sparkles and that she and Gristle are already happy being in love with each other. The trolls show the Bergens they too can find happiness inside themselves, bringing light and color and joy to Bergentown. The vengeful Chef refuses to accept the peace, and she and Creek are put on a flaming serving cart and sent rolling out of Bergentown into the woods, where they are eaten by a hill monster. Poppy is made queen of the trolls, and she and Branch share a friendly hug. Getting into the trivia, Christine Baranski recorded a song, Bringing Happy Back, to come just after Chef proclaims, "I am that he," saying that he's the person who controls the trolls, controls the Bergen. And she said, that's why she said that. It was decided that it made Chef a too sympathetic character, and it seems like she genuinely wants to restore happiness to Bergentown. So it was cut. It can be heard on the Blu-ray extras with storyboard drawings. When Princess Poppy is dancing in the large basket costume and gloves, it's a hat tip to the Bring It On Down characters Justin Timberlake portrayed on Saturday Night Live in 1975.
1975?
That's when Saturday Night Live started.
Yes. About to say. Timberlake wasn't born then.
IMDb needs to rephrase how this is worded.
Mhm.
Okay. The original troll doll was created by Thomas Dam from Joel in Denmark in 1958. The first ones were filled with wooden shavings. Many styles and sizes were made, and even animals from donkeys, elephants, giraffes, horses, lions, and monkeys. There is even a story about why they are different sizes.
So I do want to make a very quick side point on that.
'Kay.
So when me and my girlfriend were in a Mount Pleasant, it's a town it's about 2 hours from here.
You found some troll dolls.
We found some troll turtles.
Troll turtles.
Yeah, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as trolls. I was this close to buying one.
That's just disturbing.
It was disturbing, but it was kind of cute in a way.
All right. When Poppy and Branch first enter the Bergen Castle, they briefly pass by a painting that parodies the famous Norman Rockwell painting Freedom from Want, which shows a family around the table for Thanksgiving dinner. In this version, though, it depicts Bergens around the table for a Trollstice feast. This is DreamWorks Animation's first musical film since The Road to El Dorado in 2000. At the beginning of the movie, a remix of the classical piece In the Hall of the Mountain King by Edvard Grieg is playing, while the camera travels through the hall of the Bergen King's castle, which is on top of a mountain. Bergen is also the name of Grieg's hometown, one of the larger cities in Norway. Moreover, the city name Bergen is related to the word berg, which simply means mountain, in several Germanic languages, including German, Dutch, Swedish, and Norwegian. The disco ball seen at the roller rink where Bridget and King Gristle go on their date is the same fake one used by the ogres in Shrek Forever After in 2010 to infiltrate Rumpelstiltskin's party.
Wow.
And that brings me to
That
the
wasn't a good
end
movie.
of the trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, Jacob, what are your thoughts on this movie? Your likes?
My first like would actually be the opening of how they explain the history of the bog. I want to say Boggins, but they're not called
The
Boggins.
Bergens.
Bergens. I was close to Bergens and the trolls, and just how they explain that. It's just like I love it when they do that kind of. They give you a history and they give you kind of a rundown of what has happened before and then like in-depth story about this kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff, and it's kind of those like Lord of the Rings, 10,000 years ago we did this, and 10,000 years ago we did that. But there again, I haven't read Lord of the Rings yet. I haven't read it yet.
I don't know the exact time frame, but I don't think it was 10,000 years. But I'm not going to question you.
But that's one of those books I actually want to read with an audio accompaniment.
It's going to take you a while.
Yeah,
fair warning.
Yeah.
Tolkien likes to describe like every knot on the tree.
That's what I heard. But the kind of this grand fantasy kind of storytelling that kind of gets you into the mood of the story, and that's what I liked about the beginning of this film. It's like, wow, this is really good. And then I have issues later, but the opening of this, before we get into all the song and dance stuff,
oh, trust me, that's coming up.
Yes. I really enjoyed that part where it was more the Bergens would be like, oh, we can't be happy if we don't have a troll. It's like, okay, interesting. But yeah, I definitely exceedingly enjoy the opening montage and how they used puppetry and
it's not puppetry, it's all 3D animation.
Well, 3D animation,
but it is made to look like puppets.
It does kind of make it look like puppets and be like it's done very well, and I thought it was very, very enjoyable. Yeah, it's my first like.
My first like for this is the fact that you can tell that a lot of people were very passionate for this project as they were making it.
Yeah.
So many times when you see some of these kind of movies that are toy tie-ins, even though by this point I think the Trolls brand had kind of died off to the point where DreamWorks could buy it to make this film, because Trolls is now, the intellectual property for Trolls is now owned by DreamWorks. If you didn't know that, you can just tell that they had a lot from the writing to the music choices. So many of these jukebox musical movies, which I'll talk more about that later, they feel like they're being made to make a quick buck.
Agreed.
This one, while I'm sure that may have been the thought process maybe higher up in the corporate bureaucracy, this really feels like they got a bunch of people who were really passionate about this story and actually put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
into making this work. I mean, from the writing to like the music choice to the acting, it's all like spot on, for lack of a better term.
Mhm.
It's a lot of it seems like if this wasn't Trolls, I would actually think, okay, yeah, it's a DreamWorks movie. If you want to get
Yeah.
right down to it, because DreamWorks does have this ability to, I'm not going to say spin gold from straw, but because they have had some clunkers
Mhm.
over the years.
Agreed.
But this is not one of them. This is almost this is almost DreamWorks at its finest. There's a reason why DreamWorks is on par with Pixar in general. They just don't have the critical clout that Pixar has.
Agreed.
But yeah, you can just tell there was passion and love actually put into this movie. But yeah, that's my first like. What's your second?
My second like would actually be Justin Timberlake's character Branch, because he's kind of he's a conspiracy theory character that we're introduced to, and he's more like the Burgons are going to come, and no one listens to him.
Yeah.
Because the
Well, he's
trolls
probably
have
he's
become
the boy who
so-
cried wolf.
Yeah, and I like the point where he's be like, hey, the Burgons are coming, you need to be prepared for it, and everyone else would be like, oh, la di da di da, we're just gonna party in the whole bit of being this carefree thing, and that obviously gets them in more trouble than they realize. But I like his attitude. We have to be prepared. We have to. Now, granted, he's paranoid, and the understanding of why he's paranoid and understand why he's gray, why he never sings, is really touching. I really like that part of his character.
Yeah.
That he is this broken character, and he needs to find joy again. And obviously, this is a more of a musical, jukebox kind of movie.
Mhm.
To sing True Colors and be like, your true colors shine through. But I enjoy that aspect of the character who, when we get to the meat of his backstory, and I was like, it was really touching that his grandmother sacrificed herself in order to save her grandson, and his grief for that was the way he turned gray and be like his color faded, his joy was gone.
Yeah.
And it took him going on this venture with what's our main character's name again?
Poppy.
Princess Poppy, and going on this journey and learning to enjoy life again. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I like Timberlake's performance was done very, very well, because Justin Timberlake is known for his singing, and
It is kind of odd that
he
only has one song
Yeah.
in the whole movie.
Yeah, the way he starts it is like he's kind of
Or two songs. He has two songs.
Yeah, he does have 2 songs, but like how he starts off, he's that timid voice where he's kind of scared to, and I really enjoy that, where it kind of brings that vulnerability to a character, and I really enjoy that. That was very well done, definitely for a character who is you start off like he's the grump, he's the troll that doesn't want to have fun, but he's very ultimately aware to be like they could be found out, and it's very apparent because you're shooting out fireworks above the tree lines. Because you don't think of this, and I like that, the paranoid character, not just people being paranoid, but people just being aware of things, and not just be like, oh, laissez-faire kind of life, and until things go haywire, and life becomes a challenge.
Yes.
Because you're yeah. But yeah, I like the character. Justin Timberlake's performance was very well done, and yeah, that's my second like. What's yours?
I like the art style that they used for this film. Granted, when I think Trolls, I think the old plastic toys from the 80s.
Fair.
The ones I saw all my life growing up.
Right.
The kind that Peter Quill in Guardians of the Galaxy gives to Yondu instead of the actual Infinity Stone. That's what I think of when I think Trolls. And so when I heard they were making a Trolls movie originally back in the day, I thought, good night, that's going to be an ugly film. So the fact that they did reinvent the characters, which did need a reinventing
Agreed.
at that point,
Mhm.
that was almost necessary, and yet they went in a direction. They went in the direction of puppets in a way.
Yeah, they did.
They're like, I haven't actually seen the toys based on this art style,
Mhm.
because this was long after I left Walmart.
Yeah.
But if they are kind of a soft cloth covered thing, I think that would fit perfectly,
Mhm.
because everything in here looked like the Muppets, if you want to get right down to it.
Yeah, I can
It
see
was
that.
very foam rubber. There was cloth on so many things. It looked like someone had decided, yeah, we're going to make a 3D Muppets movie without the Muppets being involved or Jim Henson Productions.
Hmm.
And we're going to base it on Trolls.
I can see that.
So it's like, you know what? This kind of works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do like the art style, because it really does feel like I am looking at either cloth covered dolls or puppets
Yeah.
throughout most of the film. So yeah,
Okay.
what's your third like?
My third like kind of goes into what another podcast we have association with, Retro Rewind podcast,
Mhm.
and kind of the spiritual application in a way. My third is like more the idea of
I think
happiness.
Geek Devotions usually does that more in their main show than
Yeah.
in Retro does, but
Well, that's the one I know more of.
right, you've been on it more
Yeah, I've been on
But-
it more.
because their spiritual thing is in the Patreon content.
True.
Anyway,
Anyways, so it's this idea of happiness. Well, the Bergens are more happiness comes from be like eating a troll. It's like, okay, you get happiness from eating a little thing with hair, so you're gonna get
my
hair
f-
stuck everywhere.
my feeling on that is, just from a logistical standpoint, the
Uh-huh.
reason they feel happiness from eating the troll is that obviously the trolls there is magic involved in this universe.
Yes, of course.
And I get the feeling the trolls themselves are kind of distilled happiness
Yeah,
in a way. So
Right.
it's like eating, I don't know, like a sugary dessert
yeah,
for them in a
Yeah,
way,
that's,
because
fair,
that magic
fair.
is the happiness magic is then that the troll felt is now flowing into them.
yeah.
I don't know. It kind of reminded me of drugs, if we're going to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
anyway,
Yeah, it was this idea of be like you eat a troll and you instantly find happiness,
yes,
and if you don't eat a troll, you'll never be happy. And the trolls are more like they are like almost karmically just in pure happiness all the time, where it's they're live like this utopia. They live in a like everyone sings kumbaya. There's hugs every hour or half hour or something like that. And obviously,
no, it's every hour, because they said if it's every half hour, there wouldn't be time for singing and crafts.
yeah, that is true.
I do
Which-
remember that part.
Okay, you do remember that part.
Okay, that logically this makes sense,
It does. It does. Be like you have to make time for those things that you also want to do.
right?
But it's just like this. Like I like the idea of where it's like, you know, where you find happiness. Where well the idea of like this utopia. There's such thing as a utopia. Like the idea that
There's-
humanity is gonna be gonna, you know, somehow get along with each other. We're not gonna have any problems. It's laughable to me.
Yes.
If you are a follower of Christ and you know Scripture and you know the world is tainted, you know sin is just gonna wreck everything in 2 seconds.
Mhm.
But I started to think about happiness. And happiness is, where do we find happiness? Where do we find joy in our lives?
Can I pop in here,
Yeah, sure.
because I want to make something clear?
Yeah,
Happiness is an emotion.
yeah, it
It's
is.
fleeting.
Yeah, it is very fleeting.
Joy is a different matter.
Yeah, agreed.
Because joy is something you feel. You can feel joy even when you're broken and sad.
Yeah, agreed.
Joy, and the only place joy comes from, just because I'm just going to go ahead and spout this out there. This is probably the point you were about to make, and I apologize ahead of time.
Go ahead.
Joy comes from God, and that's the only place you can get it from.
That's true. Yeah, because
So the happiness that the Bergens are wanting is going to be fleeting anyway, even
Yeah.
if they're not eating the trolls.
that is so true. It'd be like, it's, you know, even to the point where in the movie it's talking about, be like, oh, you already have joy in yourself. It's like, well, there's a like happiness is fleeting. Be like you can be happy for a moment,
Yeah.
and then it'll fade away. Be like joy is much longer lasting kind of,
Yeah.
sense of joy. And the
Joy is almost contentment.
yeah, you're kind of content in life. But the verse that popped in my head is actually Romans 15:13.
Mhm.
Now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that you may bound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. And it's just be like your joy isn't found in things, because there's people in this world, and I can be guilty of this in a lot of ways. I know we all can in some ways, that we have this tendency, if we have all the stuff, if we have all the friends, if we have all the all the attention, like
Mhm.
we're going to be happy. But there again, that's just, you kind of, it's all temporary, everything like that. But if we find our contentment, we find our joy, we find our happiness in the Lord and in the Holy Spirit, we find more content in life. And when things do go wrong, when things hit the fan, we do have a solid foundation to rest upon when everything's going bad.
Right.
So yeah, I thought I would just bring that up. So that's my kind of a third like this film that kind of
Okay.
made me segue into something else. But what's your third?
This movie got a shot of happy juice.
Okay.
And let me explain.
Okay.
I have no idea how much this comes across on the podcast, but I am a lot like Branch.
Okay.
I have no idea if you've ever even noticed that, to be honest, but at least I feel like Branch
Okay.
a lot. Where I'm not paranoid, for instance, but there's anxiety about
Oh yeah.
that sort of stuff, and you
Yeah.
ultimately kind of feel like you're a sad sack for the most part.
Yeah.
A party pooper, perhaps.
Yeah.
And so I went into this movie thinking this is going to be some childish, sugary nothing.
Yeah.
That there was going to be no quality. This was going to be a modern tripping point for DreamWorks.
Hmm.
And for the most part, if I were to look at each of the individual pieces by themselves, I would say that this film breaks every rule I normally have for what I like in a film.
Yeah.
And yet, I was smiling for 3/4 of this film.
Really?
I was actually happy at the end. I actually felt the emotions that they were going through. When all the trolls got depressed,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt that empathy
Okay.
for them.
Hmm.
I felt the empathy for Bridget and everything she was going through. And Zoe Deschanel, so of course I was feeling empathy for her. But honestly, Poppy is a character I should absolutely positively hate,
Yeah.
because she's the kind of person that gets on my nerves.
Uh-huh.
And yet I was invested in her character throughout the movie. I don't know. I call it the happy juice because that's the only thing I can think of. It's like, it feels like I was sitting there and unbeknownst to me, I had consumed enough. It'd be like I inhaled laughing gas or something,
Okay.
because it's like at some point, all the negativity I had looking at this movie as I was watching the film kind of just dissipated, and I was just in the movie.
Okay.
I was almost immersed in the film. And I hate saying that because immersion is such a critical, artsy thing to say.
Agreed.
And I am not that kind of person. And usually when I'm watching a movie, I'm like 5 steps ahead. And I was still 5 steps ahead of where the film was
Mm-hmm.
in this. But because I can just follow the pattern of the events. Because let's face it, at some point you realize this is Cinderella.
Yeah, pretty much.
For Bridget's story is Cinderella.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of leading up to it in a different way, but
yeah, agreed.
for Bridget, this story is Cinderella. And yet, I didn't care that they ripped off Cinderella for her story.
Yeah, agreed.
The thing that got me the most was when they were going through Branch's backstory with
Yeah.
you know his grandmother sacrificing herself to save him. And when they go back and he is singing like the very powerful, the loud part of Eclipse of the Heart,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even put together in my mind that a kid probably shouldn't be singing that song, if we're being honest. But it's like, okay, yeah, because we're not supposed to really. What he's singing there is not important to the story. It's
Yeah.
the fact that he was singing this loud, and it was what got the trolls got Chef's attention in the first place.
Mhm.
Because and then it, his grandmother pushes him out of the way. The music kind of dies down the way it does in the song.
Yeah.
And it gets quiet for a little bit as it comes back, and you get the full effect of how this affected Branch. And then the rest of the trolls start actually into the sad part where it actually fits what's going on.
Yeah.
And they go, I got, holy crap, they're singing this, they're still singing the same song, and they made this work. Animated movies for kids normally do not do that.
Yeah, agreed.
They assume the kids are butt stupid.
Yeah, agreed.
And they actually did this here. It's like, I should hate this because this is the kind of movie that I get annoyed at because it feels like it's talking down to kids, and the movie doesn't talk down to kids.
No, it actually talks with real.
It's actually being very intelligent, and it's like, but it's not what I expect from this kind of film.
Yeah, agreed.
That's when like I said, almost everything I normally would hate about this film, because it takes aspects of it that when done normally, I hate that they do it.
Yeah.
And I'll get into one or two of those when we get to dislikes.
Yeah.
But it does all those things well that makes this film the exception
Okay.
to my normal rules. Now, granted, I will kind of go ahead and go into my dislike, if that's all right. My first dislike.
Go for it.
This movie is cotton candy.
Yes, it is.
Because here's the thing. I watched all that. I appreciated all of that. I thought about it for the 15 to 30 minutes after the movie went off while I was in the shower trying to digest my thoughts of the film. And normally when I watch a film for the podcast, I'm kind of thinking of it on and off throughout the day.
Yeah.
I could not remember some of this stuff at 3:00 when I got off work and was sitting down on my computer here to write notes. I had to actually go back. I didn't watch the movie again.
Yeah.
But I had to actually stop and think, what were my feelings? 'Cause usually I was like, oh yeah, these are my feelings, and I write the notes down.
Yeah.
No, this is like I had to actually go, okay, what was going on in the movie? What did I like?
Yeah.
What did I not like? What was the issues? What were the things I thought worked? And it helped that last night, after I watched the movie, I posted a link, a YouTube video on our Facebook group, the Cell Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted in our Discord also this clip from Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of was my general thoughts on it. And I called it, this clip, I said was a possible allegorical teaser for our discussion tonight.
Yeah.
Now, most of the clip doesn't really fit, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's when we get to the part where Quark pours Garrick the root beer.
Yeah.
Garrick takes a drink of it, says it's vile and hideous.
Mm-hmm.
And Quark says, I know. But you know what the worst part about it is? You drink enough of it, you begin to like it. And Garrick says, it's almost insidious. And I thought, that is what this is. The first couple minutes of this, I was already starting to check out at the beginning because it was very hippie, sugar-filled, fill your teeth rot while you're watching the thing sort of a deal.
Agreed.
And yet the longer I watched and the more I got kind of inoculated and used to the way that was, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually done very well. And it did a lot of work into us. Wow, that is insidious. In a weird way, my dislike is it's too good for what it is.
Oh, okay.
What's your first dislike?
My first dislike is it's not going in your same direction. It's more like Poppy herself. Poppy is this.
She is a little annoying.
She is very annoying. But her wandering Poppy, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go rescue my friends. She has no idea what she's doing. She's literally running into everything blindfolded, and it's like every step she takes, it's more be like she's gonna fall on her face at any second, but there's always something that's gonna make sure she gets to this point and this point. It's nothing of what she does or anything, it's what everybody else around her does to help her get to her journey. And it's not her character growing in any fashion or form. It's this character who just kind of goes into this journey and just like she just stumbles into everything, and there's no real be like she thinks about things, or be like it's more Branch who kind of just like rallies everything and that kind of stuff. That's why I like Branch so much as a character. And Princess Poppy just kind of just goes into it, doesn't think about it, everything just works the plan to an extent. The only thing that is really, because she's like, oh, we can get them to do this and get them this ultimate ultimate positivity about everything. And there again, there is room for that. I agree with that. I'm not trying to be the downer on everything, but I'm not.
You're not trying to be the party pooper.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be the party pooper here, but it's just she is annoying. She is very annoying, and she is a wandering character who just stumbles into everything, and everything just works for her. So there's no real be like, you don't feel like she really gains anything as a character. It's just be like everything just kind of goes flop in her hand. And it's just, and there again, like you said before, it's like there's a lot of this movie. It's like what exactly happened again?
Yeah,
like it's cotton candy. This is a cotton candy movie. So yeah, it's just like I'm not gonna say I don't like Poppy. It's just like Poppy's just annoying. Poppy's annoying. Poppy just kind of just does her thing, doesn't think about anything, and everything just falls into plan for the most part. And it's just like, I really don't like characters like that. So yeah, my first like is what I call wandering Poppy. What is your second dislike?
There is a character in this film that we have not talked about yet.
Oh, okay.
I did not include him. I don't know what it's supposed to be. In the cast list. You've not brought him up. I've not brought him up. He has a grand total of, I think, 5 lines in the entire film. And I absolutely have no idea why he's there.
Okay.
The cloud guy.
Oh, good night. Yeah.
That thing is stupid. I don't know why he's there. I don't know why he showed back up at the very end.
He actually showed up in the end? I don't remember this.
Showed up in the last couple seconds when they're up in the when after they're hugging all are on the mushroom after it's risen up into the sky, like right before he just pops up and says and does the little finger guns thing. And I don't remember what happened after that, because it's like, you don't need to be here, go away. I don't know what the purpose of the cloud guy is. He served no purpose other than to tell them which of the tunnels to go down.
Yeah.
And that was not a necessary purpose, because you didn't need the second tunnel.
No.
It was literally, we need something to give a little bit more tension in this scene before they get to Bergen Town. So we're going to have, there's 2 tunnels, and we're going to have this other guy come in and annoy Branch for a bit and make him mad so that he'll chase Cloud Guy all the way to Bergen Town, and then the Cloud Guy will disappear and then show back up at the last minute.
Yeah, I agree.
That's his entire reason for existence. He's an unnecessary character. Why is he here?
Yeah.
There's no other talking cloud guys in the film.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to be God? They never talk about it. There's no religious iconography. It's like, I don't know what you're here for.
Yeah. Are you some kind of angel? Are you a messenger or something?
Are you just a random dude who is just annoying our characters for no reason?
Yeah.
I would only really not bother about this character if, keyword, if, not even guaranteeing this would actually fix it, if he was narrating.
Oh, okay.
That might explain his existence better, but you got to have him coming back up more and more often. And the other thing is, usually when they have a narrator character in a show like this, I
Mhm.
hate it.
I got you.
So I probably would still hate him even if he did that.
I got you.
So, yeah, I don't. Cloud Guy can just go reign himself somewhere else.
Oh, okay. So my second dislike of this film, kind of like your point would be like it's I'm forgive me, I'm forgetting a word.
Okay.
It's it's a way that it'd be like it's the way the movie is deceptive. It draws you in deceptively about things. And
Like lying to you
no,
about
no, no,
something?
not
or
not lying. Be like it's
sneaking it in.
No,
It's
no, no.
being
it's one of the words you used earlier.
stealthy.
This like
Insidious?
Insidious.
I'm sorry, I had to stop.
I'm sorry.
I
It's
used the word. I
insidious.
used the word earlier. What words did I use earlier?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Insidious.
Oh yes, I was quoting Elam Garrick from Deep
Yeah,
Space Nine.
fine.
It's insidious.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of this idea of like happiness all
Mhm.
over the place, and the Burgert's going to be happy when they eat a troll. I said that in my third
Yeah.
of this film, and there's be like it's this the when it comes to, and I'm almost like I'm trying to build upon the thought at this second.
Mm-hmm.
It's this sugary kind of deceptive insidious thing of how they do the conclusion, where it's like, oh, she just hops on and starts talking, or Poppy hops on the table and so be like, oh, you got our happiness within you and that kind of stuff, when obviously they do kind of set up where the prince and the Cinderella character
Yes.
are really like they kind of like
Bridget.
Bridget and the king or the prince, whatever his name is, because like, oh, this happiness and blah 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 blah. I'm like, but they still want they get into the song and dance thing towards the end of the movie. I'm just like, really? I understand it's the formulaic thing. Well, we get into a dance and everybody starts happy and that kind of stuff.
You can blame Shrek for that.
Yeah, you can blame Shrek for it.
Because that's the one that popularized it in the modern film was Shrek.
Yeah.
One.
So kind of to backtrack what I was saying before.
Yeah.
It's more the conclusion to this film. The conclusion of this film. Let me back up to go what my second like is more the how they resolve this issue. They resolve the issue of be like, oh, you gotta find the joy in yourself and that kind of thing, and be like, it's all about grooving to the music and finding that
Mhm.
bounce in your step and that kind of stuff. And I just found that annoying. I just found that really, really annoying. I'm like, seriously? I understand it's a kid's film, and they did some really, really good stuff in this film. Do not
Yes.
get me wrong, but the final turn and I'll be honestly, I don't remember the end of this film. I remember them like going in this room.
I'll tell you the end of the film, just real quick. They convince the Bergens that they can be happy without eating the trolls.
Yeah, somewhere in this.
They do the big song and dance number
Uh-huh.
about how we're all happy, yay, yay, yay. The king puts the crown on Poppy's head to give the idea that she's earned her queenship, even though technically I don't think, unless it's in the middle of a song, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's basically your standard happy ending, kiss, everyone's in love, blah blah blah. Movie ends with the villain getting her just desserts, or both the villains.
Mm-hmm.
The villain and the traitor, I'll say, get their just desserts by rolling outside of town on the flaming cart and then getting eaten by a hill.
Yeah, it's just this
or a monster in the shape of a hill.
Yeah, the conclusion of the film I don't remember, because honestly I just would click. I turned off. I mean, I didn't turn off the movie. I just kind of tuned out.
You tuned out because it's like,
I tuned out
because it was like, and now we've reached the end of every movie every animated kids movie at this point.
Yeah,
so that they will be happy as they leave the theaters and not angry and grumpy as they're in the car on the way home.
Our thinking about things or some kind of.
Yes.
But it's just that very typical, hey, everybody's happy kind of story. And it's just like, okay, be like nothing,
It's
nothing,
the
nothing
happy
real,
ending.
happy ending, nothing really be like gonna make you think or an original idea or something like that. There again, you be like
You don't normally come across a lot of deep endings in animated films,
no, you
especially
don't.
for the kids.
Or something different. But they use
Yeah.
that same traditional trope, and it's just like, oh, okay, tuned out. So yeah. So that's my second dislike. It's just like, I'd be like, I tuned out at the end.
Okay.
So that's why I just like be like, that happened? I don't remember that. Oh yeah, because I tuned out. Yeah. That was a long way to get to a second dislike.
Yes.
So what is your third dislike?
This is a jukebox musical.
Agreed.
I hate jukebox musicals, and I'll tell you why. Because for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there are two kinds of musicals. There's the one where they write every song for the musical.
Yeah.
Examples of this that we've reviewed. Nearly every Disney movie that's a
Yeah.
musical.
They're all written.
Tangled, Frozen. I was going to say Wreck-It Ralph, but that's not a musical.
No.
Aladdin, Little Mermaid. That sort of thing.
Yeah, all the musicals. Yeah.
All the musicals. And then there's the jukebox musical. Now, granted, I think this is the first jukebox musical we've done, because the only other one I could think that gets close was Ugly Dolls.
Well,
and
we
I
didn't.
don't remember the music in that movie.
Yeah, me either.
Because it was a forgettable movie for the most part. And all a jukebox musical is instead of writing the music yourself, you take the music from popular music.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, every single one of them in here is a cover. There is a cheaper way to do a jukebox musical than they did. And I have seen it before where it's literally just you play the music in the background.
True.
They actually did do full covers of every song. And in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it was the Let Your Color Shine thing that he sang,
Yeah.
Branch sang, was that an original song?
I
Because
think
I didn't. That's the only one I didn't recognize.
Yeah.
So that might be the one original song that they probably tried to use to get an Academy Award, or at least so they could try to get an Academy Award.
Yeah.
But the rest of the film, it's like, it's like whatever song you think would fit this situation, they used it, and they used too many of them.
Yeah.
There is a point in here where it's like, guys, this movie has been going on for 10 minutes, and you are on your third song. Slow down.
Tell a story without music.
Go to the story. Slow down.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I will say, I'll give the movie this kudos. They actually do the jukebox musical correctly.
Yeah.
Where the songs actually are thought out as to what choices they make. But it's still a jukebox musical. Very few films do that where it works.
Right.
This is one of the few that does, and even then, I still look at it and go, man, I wish there was a better reason for this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, later on, I will have to bite my word. I'll have to bring this back up again because there is a Muppet movie coming up that, by definition, no, let me rephrase. It's not a jukebox musical. It's just they do use normal music people have heard, but there's also written songs. That's when we get to the Muppets from, was it 2009? The first of the actual Walt Disney fully owned Muppets movies. Yeah. But it's got some of these kind of jukebox style musical numbers in them too.
Yeah.
They're not, it's done well here, but it's still a practice I would like to see be fired into a black hole and never seen again.
Oh, okay.
I hate the concept of the jukebox musical.
Yeah.
The only time I will accept it in normal circumstances is if the musical is literally based on like the works of a certain band. Like I'm not a fan of the musical itself, but Mamma Mia being based on the works of ABBA. that makes sense because obviously they chose the music and then wrote a story to go with the music.
Mhm.
This, they wrote the story and then put the music in, and while it works, it's just like you could have done. Imagine how much better this would be if I didn't know all the songs going into it.
Hmm.
Imagine how much better this would be is if most of the songs Justin Timberlake is a songwriter.
Yeah.
If he had wrote all the songs for this, yeah, it would probably been more expensive and it would have been more work for him, but it would have been a better movie overall.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, yes. I don't like that it's a jukebox musical. What is your third dislike?
I'm gonna slide in right where you're at. Was the music itself? I feel like the music is well done. I
Mhm.
feel like it fits the mood, it fits the atmosphere, what they're doing. I miss the old, not the olden days, because there again, I'm nearly 40. And
Yeah.
the movies that I think of is the late 80s.
Well,
into
we
the
grew
90s.
up in the Disney Renaissance,
That
so
is true.
I mean, we got lucky. We're spoiled,
Yeah,
to be
agreed.
honest.
So to go back to the idea of actually writing music, like heck, you go back to the 1950s and 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
doing original music.
Well, and the thing is, this is DreamWorks.
Yeah.
They have done 2 other musicals, one of which we've actually reviewed on the show,
Yeah.
that were done very well with
Yeah.
original music. Because as much as I have troubles with The Prince of Egypt as a story because of the fact that they get some of the Christian stuff wrong in it,
Yeah, agreed.
all the music in that is well done.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's DreamWorks.
Yeah.
This was the film that they thought that the people that they were setting up to make people want to work on, and when they punished them, they put him on Shrek, which is still funny to me because they were both good movies.
Yeah, agreed.
Both big movies. It's just it was Shrek that won the Academy Award.
True.
But I'm spoiled. I admit that. I'm so used to a good musical being able to say, yeah, this song is from this musical.
Got it.
And that's not how things are done, right? That's not how things are usually done anymore, unless you actually have, well, you do like I suggested, like, because Tangled, who wrote the music for that? I'm asking you because you know.
Alan Menken and
Okay, that's
some Slade. Yeah, some
either way.
Slade, yeah.
I was thinking for some reason I was thinking Frozen, actually, now that I realize it.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you actually had not really pop musicians, but they are Broadway. It's
Yeah.
not even getting what I'm getting to. If Justin Timberlake had just wrote the music for this, kept that poppy feel that he's known for,
Right.
instead of just remixing essentially all the films, you can tell he did that much at least, because there is that Justin Timberlake feel to those songs.
Yeah.
It would have been better. Sorry, I jumped on yours. Continue.
It's all good. It's just more. I wish they would go back to like you brought up a really good point of Prince of Egypt had original songs, and I think it's gone down to, hey, let's just, instead of being original, let's just cover a song, make it our own, slow it down, change the beat, whatever.
It's
But
cheap.
it's cheaper. It's a cheaper form of doing a musical,
And you're more
it's-
likely to have for people to remember the songs in your film because they knew them before it.
Yeah, exactly. And you have they've continued this format throughout the decades now, to where DreamWorks Films and Illumination Films and other animation departments are.
Illumination hasn't actually done a musical, have they?
That is true.
DreamWorks has done it. Pixar hasn't done a musical yet.
Yeah, Pixar hasn't done a musical yet, but
So really, it's
don't-
just been Disney and DreamWorks that have actually. Did Blue Sky do a musical?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I could see them doing it, but anyway, it's all
Yeah, but
beside the point.
it's this tradition of going away from original
Mhm.
original written
and,
music.
and you're seeing this on Broadway too.
That is true. Be like you do have some like I can't remember what Pharrell Williams, he did Happy, like that was an original song.
That was an original song he wrote for Despicable Me 2.
Yeah.
I think it was Despicable Me 2. It might have been Despicable Me 3.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Either or.
But he wrote all the music for those things. It's that the Despicable Me movies are not musicals per se, but
Yeah.
he did write original songs that he sang throughout those films.
Yeah. But either or, be like, I think it's just there's this they've gotten away from the original written music
Mhm.
and are more, like you said, be like, it's gotten to more, it's cheaper, it's easier to produce, and like you said, be like, people know these songs because they're already singing them prior to going into theater.
Yeah.
So it's a cheaper form of doing a musical, and I wish they would go back to doing more original songs. And it's just, like,
Well-
it's a dying art. Let's say that it's a
At-
dying art in animated films.
At least the most recent Disney musical, Encanto,
Yeah,
at least it is actually a musical.
yeah. Disney still does that.
Disney
So-
still does it, but I want to see Pixar go back to that if they ever go back to do another musical. I know Trolls 2 was after this, and it's
Yeah.
it's technically a musical also. I just remember there is another 2 movies. I don't remember which animation studio did it. I think it was Illumination, but don't quote me. But they were also jukebox musicals. It was Sing.
yeah,
I don't remember who did that. That might have been Illumination.
that was Illumination.
Okay, so yeah, they have at least tried to do a musical.
Yeah, because
But-
that became the trend in this
Yeah.
era.
Yeah, this movie is probably the one that actually started it as for the animated stuff. Because I don't remember the exact. Yeah, because this came out of. It may have been Smurfs.
Oh, okay.
Because Smurfs did some of the live action Smurfs
Mhm.
movies.
Yeah,
I think they did some of that too. Anyway, doesn't matter. We need to move on to
Yeah.
our ratings.
yes.
What are you rating this?
What are you rating?
Oh, you're going to do that too.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna
I'm
flip it
giving
back on
it.
you.
I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
And the reason I'm even knocking it's as high as it is because DreamWorks did a very good job with this film. My biggest issue with it, of all those dislikes I mentioned, the only one I really can't forgive it for
Yeah.
is the fact that it's cotton candy. And literally, when I go to edit this episode
Mhm.
for the release into the RSS feed, I won't even have a good idea as to what subtitle I'm
Mm.
going to use for this.
Mm.
Because most of the time, I at least have a concept or I'll remember stuff. I'm not going to remember what happened in this film come Saturday.
Mm.
I'll tell you that right now.
I got
Because
you.
it's that for as good as it is, it's cotton candy.
Yeah.
Once you eat it, it dissolves in your mouth and is gone.
Yeah, agreed. I would be like, going into that, I'll give it a 7 because originally I was gonna give it a 6,
Mhm.
but through the conversation and just the dialogue,
Yeah.
it is a good film. Be like, it has some good points, but there again, like you said, it's cotton candy. It's one of those films you enjoy the time, and then by the time you've finished, you kind of, it's like, what did I just eat again?
Yeah.
And it's kind of for
It's
forgettable-
made for consuming. It tastes good.
yeah.
It has no substance.
True. It has little points here and there, like Branch. You have Branch's character.
Yeah.
You have some of the opening opening sequences are done very well. It's just more like a forgettable film, but it's one of those films like, oh, this was a good film, but do I remember this film? Not really.
Yeah.
So I guess I would kind of put it where it's almost like a 6.5, 7.
Mhm.
It's in that range. Like, is it worth watching? Yes. You might forget the film after you watch it.
Yeah.
But I already have the idea of what I want to do for the cover art, and it kind of goes into the next segment
Mhm.
with a troll in a certain character's mouth.
Alrighty then. Next week we're going to do a personal favorite of mine.
Oh yes,
Fievel Goes West. I forgot this was coming, and now I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, next week we're doing Fievel Goes West, but for now we need to jump into our review of the next 2 episodes of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
Yes.
And the masters of the universe.
Cats are running, cats are loose. DuckTales, woo!
All right. Yes, I have upgraded that.
I would say bravo. That was very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's get into these episodes. We've got The Return of the King, directed by Philip Pignotti and written by Jeremy Shipp. In this episode, King Edmund arrives in Corona to give his son Eugene a family heirloom. When the heirloom is stolen, Eugene reluctantly joins his father on a journey to retrieve it. Getting the guest cast for this episode, we've got Bruce Campbell returning as King Edmund.
Yes.
Ron Perlman returning as the Stabbington brothers.
I didn't realize it was actually him.
Yeah, it's actually him.
Wow.
Diedrich Bader returning as Stan the Guard. Sean Hayes returning as Pete the Guard. Jennifer Veal as Enchanted Girl.
Uh-huh.
I love how they refer to her now.
Enchanted Girl.
Jake Roberts as Doyle the Dart Player. Gideon Emery as additional voices, and Keith Ferguson as additional voices. Trivia for this episode. The title may refer to the long-awaited return of Eugene's biological dad. No kidding!
You think?
King Edmund. From the 25-year-long isolation and solitude inside the crumbling homeland and kingdom. Let's face it, you know what else this thing is referencing? The third Lord of the Rings movie and book. The Return of the King.
Very true.
That's what it's referencing. Let's
Very
be
true.
honest.
True.
This is the first episode of the series that King Edmund has been to Corona, alongside his two pets, Domino, the horse, and Hamuel, this stupid crow, to see his biological son, Eugene, again after the reunion. From this episode onwards, season 3 has a new opening sequence.
That it does.
I did not realize that until I was starting it. So, and I actually kind of like this one,
Really?
considering the references, how they handle the fact that one of our characters is not with the group.
True.
But anyway, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Oh my gosh. So honestly, like I was trying to rack my brain. It's like, what episode is this? Because I've already watched the first, all of this, all of them.
This is the one where we find out that Flynn Rider, aka Eugene Fitzherbert, his name is Horace.
Horace.
I love
It's
that. It's like,
hilarious.
how is my actual name worse than Eugene?
But no, but like where I was getting started was I couldn't remember where this episode put in the sequence of season 3.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, this is episode 3. And I was like, oh, okay. So you get Bruce Campbell's performance as King Edmund, and it's absolutely hysterical the entire time.
You realize we have Bruce Campbell,
Mhm.
aka Ash from the Evil Dead,
Yeah.
versus two Ron Perlmans, aka two Hellboys.
Yeah.
We have Ash versus Hellboy in Tangled. There's something you never thought you'd hear.
True. So true. It's a good episode. It's more you get to learn that Eugene's name isn't Eugene.
It's
like
Horace.
It's Horace. And it's hysterical. These two guys who can't, or Eugene can't stand him because he keeps calling him Horace.
And he lived by himself for so long. He talks out loud to himself.
yeah.
Which is, especially with the figgy pudding part, was like,
Oh, that was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
oh my word.
Yeah, no, I don't want your figgy pudding.
I really don't want your pocket pudding.
Yeah, no thanks. But like it's a good story. It's a good story.
Mhm.
It's where it's a bonding moment where King Edmund, right?
Yes, King Edmund.
King Edmund, he like puts this elaborate hoax to where someone has stolen a Eugene
sash
Eugene
that he got from his father like earlier in the episode. And I'm still sitting there going, it's like, okay, this is a family heirloom.
Yeah.
What is this? Just like, do you pass this down? Is this like the sign that he's the prince? What is this?
Yeah.
And the thing is, we never get an answer. You want to know why? Because it doesn't matter. Because we lose the stupid sash at the end of the episode.
Right.
unless it's going to magically come back up at the end of the series. But I can't imagine why it would.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yes.
But overall, the story is very well done. They like you get the return of the Stabbington brothers, and I thought that was
Yes.
very unique. I was like, oh, excellent. They got Ron Perlman to come back.
They got Ron Perlman to come back from Max and Eugene and Terror on the High Sea, or
That is-
Peril on the High Seas.
Yeah,
The last episode they were in.
True. Like it's like the story itself is very well done. It's a father-son bonding trip where King Edmund just messes everything up.
Bless his heart.
Bless his lonely heart. Let's say that.
Yes.
But overall, the story is very well done. It's a very well executed story. It's of course Rapunzel has to go find and figure out what's going on, and helps Eugene or crap. What did Edmund call him again?
Horace.
Horace. Thank you. And Horace.
Oh, Horace.
Yeah, Horace. It's
You know that-
Eugene.
You know that's going to come back up later. It's going to be a running gag throughout the whole season.
I hope so.
If only Cassandra was here to hear that.
Oh, speaking of Cassandra,
Yeah, we do get a scene with her.
we do get a scene. I think it's very well done because it's more of like she's like conflicted by everything she's done. Because it's more be like
Cassandra is still the Cassandra we know. It's just in a fit of anger at the end of season 2.
yeah.
She got herself in the dark side, and now
Pretty
she's
much.
being whispered to by a creepy little spirit girl.
Yeah.
I have theories on who the creepy little spirit girl is,
I imagine
but
you
we're
do.
not going to get into that right now. All right. Okay. Moving forward. Okay. Anyway,
Sure they can't hear me by this point, can you? Guess not.
I'm just saying. I will give this guess.
Okay. Speculate away.
This speculation is that creepy little spirit girl, aka Enchanted Girl, as
Mhm.
she's listed on IMDb.
Yes.
And kudos for not trying to give her an actual name, considering who I think she is. She is trying to get Cassandra to give in to her dark side so that she can serve her, or should I say him?
Maybe.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. We'll find out when we get there.
She's just going to be following in her mother's footsteps.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun.
But overall, great story. I love it that they continue to Cassandra's in there. She's a
Mhm.
very conflicted character still. And the moment where she's looking into the black rocks and you look at that look of hesitation, that look of regret, but then
And frustration that she can't use her powers.
she can't use the powers, and it's learning to channel her anger
Yes.
and what Rapunzel did to her. I'm loving where this little side plot's going. Love it.
I'm really hoping, and don't tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Here. I'm really hoping that throughout, maybe not every episode, but a good portion of them until she becomes extremely plot relevant again. I hope they at least have these little scenes. It's like to keep you on, like, here's what Cassandra's doing.
Yeah.
Here's what she's having to deal with right now.
Mhm.
So it helps build the tension for the final 3-part episode with the Latin name.
Mhm.
That makes me think we're heading towards the final boss, and it's our friend. Don't let it go, because that's the problem this series has had
Yeah.
in its first 2 seasons, is that between the opening plot story
Yeah.
and the middle, oh yeah, we have a story we have to do,
Mhm.
kind of a thing. And this is, I can tell, kind of moving into that slight filler arc a little bit from these 2 episodes. That you almost forget, like, oh yeah, there is actually something happening right now. It's
Yeah.
not random episodes that could be watched in really any order.
Agreed.
I hope they at least have this little continuing moving subplot to help keep you following Cassandra while Rapunzel and her team are just doing, plot of the week.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. I really enjoyed this
yeah,
episode.
this is a good episode.
This is a good episode. And then we get into our next
This
episode.
is a nice. We're in the filler episodes, but these are the good filler that
Yeah.
help you understand who these characters actually are.
Right.
But yeah, we do need to go into the next episode, which is Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?
Yeah.
It was directed by Shane Zalvin and written by Jace Rickey. In this episode, Rapunzel and Eugene's friends, Angry and Red, return to Corona permanently. Their return quickly becomes a nightmare when the kingdom is stalked by a werewolf. Guest cast includes Vivian Vencer as Angry, now known as Kira.
Hmm.
Ruby J as Red, now known as Catalina.
Mhm.
We have names for these characters
We
now.
do.
I do like this.
I agree. They do.
Artemis Pebdani as Captain Creighton. Richard Kind returning as Uncle Monty. Suzanne Blakesley as Old Lady Crowley,
Mm-hmm.
taking over for
Pat Carroll.
Pat Carroll, who I think her last episode was in season 1, but they replaced the voice actress for Ursula in this series with the voice actress for Maleficent, because that's who Suzanne Blakesley is. She's the voice of Maleficent.
That is hilarious.
Of course, we got Jennifer Veal as the Enchanted Girl,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Blum as additional voices, Keith Ferguson as additional voices, and Carrie Payton as additional voices.
I love it that Steve Bloom's he's an additional voice.
Yes. I didn't catch his voice in here, but
Yeah.
I do. It is nice that it's here. Trivia for this episode. The episode title references the children's book, The Three Little Pigs, and the song from the Silly Symphony of the same name.
Mm-hmm.
It is revealed that Angry and Red's real names are Kiera and Catalina.
Mm-hmm.
Kiera and her sister Catalina aren't traveling again as of this episode because they decided to stay at Corona permanently, as mentioned at the beginning of the episode. There are references to the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood, like Rapunzel saying to the werewolf, "My, what big teeth you have!" And of course, the werewolf being Red, who in many of her previous appearances wore a hood.
Mm-hmm. She did.
Rapunzel's line, "Best hug ever," is a nod to her line, "Best day ever" from Tangled.
Mm-hmm.
Eugene and Lance recall the events of the season 1 episode Painter's Block and the series respectively, especially since they go back to that place. I'm sitting there going, "Oh, look, this is where Painter Lady was."
Mm-hmm.
I go, "Hey, remember that Painter Lady who took us up here to paint that one? I wonder what happened to her." Well, after she tried to have you murder everybody and steal your soul, we kind of took care of her. Anyway, Catalina is shown to still be wearing the leaf necklace she received from her sister Kira as a gift at the near end of the season 2 episode, Vigor the Visionary.
Mm-hmm.
And the Egyptian jackal-headed god Anubis appeared on a page in the Lycanthrope book of
Oh
Captain,
that's right.
what's her face? Captain Creighton.
Yeah, Creighton.
I don't know if does Creighton show back up again, or is this a one-time only deal?
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember.
Creighton was a very forgettable character, I will say.
Agreed.
She exists only to be the antagonist to give more tension to finding out who the werewolf is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say I'm just gonna put this out there. I figured out it was Red fairly early on.
Okay.
But you know what the other thought was when I was watching this episode was?
Yeah.
This is an episode of Blue's Clues. Because they're all looking for a blue paw print that could be on anyone,
Wow.
including Monty.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yes. It's like, actually, that kind of makes sense, all things considered, but nope, it's not going to be him. This is too early. It's got to be either Red. It's got to be either Red or Angry.
Mm-hmm.
And considering how Red's acting, guessing her.
Yeah.
Because Angry doesn't really hold her anger in.
No.
But Red has always been the quiet person who doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Now, I will actually mention this. I do like this because this wasn't in the trivia. Red and Angry have updated character models.
They do.
They have aged.
They have.
And they
yes.
look good.
They do.
I like that.
Good.
Interesting. They're in the opening sequence too.
They are.
They're with Lance for some reason.
Hmm.
Interesting. But yeah, This is a fun episode. I liked the who's the werewolf kind of a thing. The whole idea as to why she took in the werewolf. Red was a very two-dimensional character in her previous two appearances.
Agreed.
Kiera a little more, but it was because Kiera actually talked.
Yeah.
So I'm now already calling her Kira instead of Angry because Kira actually has a much better name than Angry. But I like how they actually finally gave this character a voice. She had a voice before, but I mean, she actually talked more and she actually was able to speak more, and they actually gave her characterization. It's like, oh, this is so stinking nice. This is so good. I love this. This is a great episode. What are your thoughts?
I'm in the same boat. I love that they brought Red and Angry back. They actually gave them names because they mentioned they do have names prior, but they really do flesh out more of Red's character, that she's a very frustrated young lady or young girl who is just be like, she doesn't feel she's heard. She does not express herself. And the fact to be like, she allows herself to be possessed by this wolf spirit.
Yes.
And she transforms in this enormous wolf because she is angry all the time. She got this repressed rage towards like everybody else because no one listens to her.
Yeah.
Which I can understand in some capacities.
Yes. We all can.
Yes. Be like, and plus I bark like a dog. So the inner dog comes out every once in a while.
And yet you don't have red hair. Oh, well.
That's true.
So close.
So close. But so far. But I'm not going to say I'm going to dye my hair red. That's not going to happen.
Please don't.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
You wouldn't look good with red hair.
No, I know that I wouldn't look good in red hair.
Ashley probably doesn't want you in red hair.
Probably not.
Anyways,
I
don't know why I'm speaking for Ashley. She won't like that either.
But either way, I enjoy this story. I love it that that we do get this, this conflict. We do get this kind of a mystery of who the werewolf is. Obviously, if you're paying attention to how the camera moves and why they're lingering on certain characters, primarily Red, and it's just like, it's kind of obvious, but I love the mystery of how our characters discover it. Definitely we go to the opening sequence where it's Rapunzel. She's being chased by the wolf.
Yes.
Or the werewolf or the lichen. And I really enjoy that kind of storytelling. And it kind of gives you that mystery of like, okay, what's really going on? And then you back up, like, I think it was like 37 hours earlier.
Yeah, 30 is obviously more than a day.
Yeah. But it's just this idea that like you have Red, who is obviously a very angry character, and she feels she's not being heard. Her sister, her adopted sister, not blood relative, but adopted sister, is just basically taking the idea, ever since you don't talk, I'm just gonna say it and be like, I'm just gonna speculate what you think.
Yeah.
And her little speech where it's discovery like, oh, she's the wolf, she's the werewolf. And it's like, what if it like, I want to be the angry one, I want to be this, I want to be this, that like
I want to be heard and the wolf lets me be heard.
Yeah, exactly. It gives me power. Yeah. Like, what if I want power? And it's that frustration you get.
What if I like being the wolf? What if I don't like y'all telling me what I want and and y'all can just stuff it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm tired of being told what I want. I was like, I know what I want.
Just let me be me.
Yes.
Be like, I like the wolf. Now, it's played a little interesting later on in the series, but I'm not going to go into that. But,
yeah, I'm going to guess that her and Kara and Catalina do show up more often throughout this season than they have before now.
Yes, they do. But there's a certain scene that comes up, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's not going to work. It comes up fairly, I think, in another episode or two.
Yeah,
but it is a good episode. It is great character development, and everybody's just be like, oh, you need to get rid of this curse. You need to get rid of this curse, and she fully embraces it.
Yeah.
And then you get,
who says it's a curse? It might be a gift.
Yeah, because
especially if she can get it under control.
Yeah. And so that's I love this episode. It's so well done. And yeah, that's gonna be my cover. I'm literally gonna draw Red in her angry form, and then have the wolf form behind her
Eating a troll.
eating a troll.
Can I request the troll be Poppy?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I want Poppy to get eaten.
Poppy will be eaten.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah,
we
so-
do have one other scene, of course, another scene with Cassandra
Yeah, we do.
and Enchanted Girl.
hmm
And Enchanted Girl tells her how to use her, tells Cassandra how to use her powers. And it's to be angry.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The connection in this episode to one has to control the anger while the
Has to embrace their anger.
embrace the anger. Well, they both have to embrace the anger.
Yeah.
But for Catalina, I get used to saying Catalina, not Red.
Yeah.
But for Catalina, I kind of want to call her Cat, but she's a dog.
Yeah.
She still has to control the anger,
hmm
be able to focus it correctly, and technically that's what Cassandra's got to do also. But I think Enchanted Girl's going to try and actually get her to more allow her anger to run wild,
Possibly.
because of what I think Enchanted Girl is actually doing.
Mm.
Enchanted Girl, I don't think has Cassandra's actual best interests in mind, is what I'm saying.
Possibly.
But we will find more about that later.
Exactly.
You got anything else before we end this episode?
The final, I think it's the final scene in this episode is where you see Enchanted Girl, and when Cassandra is like learning to control, like use her rage to control the rocks, you just get that just wicked grin, and it's like
it's like
it makes you
you
think
know,
it's like
any-
what's going on.
any hint that Enchanted Girl was a good person trying to help Cassandra, and it was all going to backfire even on Enchanted Girl, just went right out the window with that smile.
Yeah,
It's like, no, you are the villain. You have to be the villain. The villain we've only actually heard the name of one time in the
Maybe.
series so far.
maybe.
Well, no, we've heard it a couple times because it did come up in the last Figor episode.
Maybe.
But anyway,
Yeah. That's a theory to be proven or disproven later on in the series.
yes, indeed. A tangled theory. Moving on. That does bring us to the end of this episode.
Yes.
This has been Drew,
This is Jacob.
and we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron.
And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen.
His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming.
On YouTube at Cellcast.
On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
It's insidious.
But tastes like candy.
Anyway, that's the end of the episode.
My gosh,
Oh my.
That's like I was holding in that cough the entire time.
I had a feeling. Let me see if I can find someone for the Twitch people to raid, and we will get out of here.
I felt like I was choking on all the glitter that was being poured in this movie.
Oh, let's not get into where some of that glitter came from.
No.
But yeah, thank y'all guys for joining us.
Yes.
We will check y'all out next week for Five Goes West. There's nobody to raid, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it here. We'll see y'all later.